Gators Breakdown is the place to be for Florida football coverage with David Waters and the crew, talking Florida 3 times a week on their podcast on what do we got here? SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes.
Yep, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, of course. So
there you go.
Yep.
It's all right there. The defense, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems to be pretty much as strong as it's ever been. LSU ran the ball a little bit in that game for about 200+ yards, but otherwise, it's a pretty good defense again.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming off a performance where, Kellen Mond didn't even have 100 yards passing, I believe. They held Texas A&M to 81 yards rushing. And Texas A&M running back duo was pretty good there. They're getting better as the year goes on. We saw they struggled against Michigan, and the Michigan offense hasn't really shown much. So we knew this Florida defense would start the season slow. They were replacing so many guys, replacing from the last 2 years. Replacing Hargraves, Tabor, Wilson, May, and Neal, and those guys, Jared Davis, Alexander Loney. They've lost a lot of talent the last 2 years, and we knew this would have to be a year where the defense would start slow, the offense would kind of have to carry them. But this defense, to me, with the young guys and Marco Wilson and C.J. Henderson at cornerback, I mean, Florida hasn't fell off at the quarterback position hardly at all. It's up the middle. The linebackers right now, that's kind of where they've fallen off. Those guys have trouble tackling. They have trouble staying in their zones, covering their zones. Chauncey Gardner for a little while was having some trouble tackling. He's improved that in the last couple of weeks. Nick Washington is another safety who's been injured. It's up the middle where Florida is being hurt right now, and they have their toughest test coming up. The toughest test of the season coming up against Georgia with Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, Swift, the other running back for Georgia. They have a 3-headed monster. They can even go 4 or 5 deep sometimes there. We'll see how this front seven kind of responds to, if Georgia comes in and runs the ball and can run they like to run for 200, 300 yards, 250, 300 yards a game and make it easy for their quarterback, Jacob Fromm. It's really on this Florida front seven to hold those guys down and make a true freshman Jacob Fromm, in a kind of custom scenario with this crowd split 50-50 to see if he can make some big plays against this good secondary that Florida has.
I watched the NFL Red Zone on Sunday afternoons. That's my thing, and a bunch of the guys that you just mentioned, they are on the screen countless times playing defense in the NFL. So they're just not making NFL rosters. Florida's lost exceptional talent on that side of the ball the last 2 years. You kind of gave me the formula, David, for a Florida upset. So if there's anything else you want to add there, plus I want to ask you about Jim McElwain. Offensive guru. He has that reputation. We would expect it to be cleaned up by now. I know a lot of things have gone against him, but are the fans getting restless?
Fans are getting restless, Mark, as you said, the offensive guru, the quarterback developer, and, going back kind of to Felipe Franks, you see young quarterbacks all over the nation being able to come in and lead an offense. And they're going against one Saturday with Jacob Fromm, who's a true freshman. And, he's not making great plays. He's not a Heisman type of quarterback, but within that offense, he helps from the quarterback position. He's not a detriment to his team. And you have James Blackman right down the road at FSU while FSU's struggling. A lot of that's on the defense. As a true freshman, he looks pretty good. Jimbo Fisher, it looks like he can develop a quarterback. And, now we're just seeing, all these young guys in Florida here now is still spinning their wheels with another young quarterback, and it just looks like he's not growing at all. So you would thought that Doug Nussmeier, offensive coordinator, and Jim McElwain would have now been able to come up with something at the quarterback position, and this is now year 3. Now, I get the problems. Yes, you had some suspensions. Yes, you had some injuries, but it still shouldn't look as bad as it does. I mean, there are playmakers. Get the ball in their hands some more. And that's the problem a little bit right now. There's just been no progression whatsoever from, believe it or not, the Will Muschamp years. This offense looks no better whatsoever than when he was the head coach at Florida. So you brought in a guy who was known for offense, a guy that you thought could come in and fix it, and it's not fixed. So, yes, there are issues. Yes, he gets a pass for some of those issues, but where's the progress? And I think that's the big question for Florida fans, and they're wondering if Jim McElwain is the guy that can answer those questions.
Georgia looks in line for an SEC Eastern Division championship, if not more. A big 14-point favorite against Florida in their annual showdown. David Waters joining us from Gators Breakdown to break it down. I guess stranger things have happened, but the Bulldogs look awfully strong in this one. They've got a hurdle, let's see, Auburn and Georgia Tech as well to set up that showdown that's anticipated against the Alabama Crimson Tide. All right, David, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, Mark.